We are now 1 month into the lockdown mode. And finally, there's some good news this week. New modeling data suggests that Toronto is at our peak period for COVID-19 cases, and we have started to successfully flatten that curve. Hong Kong reported 0 cases on Monday. Europe is starting to reopen. So hopefully we are all heading to brighter 2020 together. Today, I want to share with you the latest market forecast report from Royal LePage. It says that home prices in Canada are expected to be remarkably stable during this pandemic. Specifically for the Greater Toronto Area, it predicts that if business activity resumes by the end of June, we may see a year-over-year increase of 1.5% in home prices by the end of this year. If business activity resumes in the late summer, then we could see a 0.5% decrease in home prices. But when you hear that over 1 million jobs have been lost in this pandemic, does it make sense at all to say that home prices would remain stable? Logically, when people lost their job, then they would need to sell their homes. If a lot of people are doing that, it will drive prices down. So what are we missing? Let's dig deeper. The latest labor force survey from Statistics Canada gives us a lot of insights. What are the top 4 industries that suffer from biggest job losses? Number 1, accommodation and food services. With all the travel restrictions across the globe, it is not hard to imagine that most rooms in our hotels are sitting empty. Restaurants are definitely among the hardest hit as most of them rely on dine-in customers. Employment in accommodation and food services declined by almost 300,000 in March. Half of those who were still employed worked 15 hours or less per week. 1 in 4 reported 0 hours. Number 2, wholesale and retail trade. With all the malls and non-essential stores ordered to close, there's no business for retail stores. When the retailers can't sell, they obviously won't be buying anything from their wholesalers. The number of people employed in wholesale and retail trade declined by over 200,000 in March. Number 3, educational services. There's little change for professional occupations in education sector. For example, professors in universities would be unaffected. Most people with non-professional occupations in education, such as tutors, library assistants, may be unemployed. 125,000 jobs were lost in this sector in March. Number 4, information, culture, and recreation. This includes people who work in large sports and entertainment events. With all large events cancelled, over 100,000 jobs were lost in this sector. Even within these 4 industries, which recorded the largest employment declines, not all occupations were equally affected. Which occupations do you think got the hardest hit? That's right, sales and service occupations. Example, restaurant and retail store workers. These occupations accounted for 61.8% of the overall unemployment. Jobs in this occupational group are relatively low paid. That means the workers who are first to lose their jobs are the least able to withstand economic hardship. In 2019, the average hourly wage of employees in sales and service occupations was $18.36, compared with the total employment average of $27.83. Let's take a look at the job losses by age group. Which group got hit by the biggest bullet? Number 1, youth. This is the age group between 15 to 24 years old. About 2/3 of youth are students. Employment decreased by almost 400,000 in March, and the decrease was almost entirely in part-time work. What part-time jobs do you think students would most likely get? Exactly, waiters or sales. Those are the occupations that saw the biggest job losses. Number 2, women in core age population. This refers to women in the core working ages of 25 to 54 years old. Job loss for women was more than twice that of men, and nearly half of the job losses among women was from part-time employment. These are probably the working moms who couldn't dedicate full time to their jobs. It makes perfect sense that people with temporary positions or lower quality jobs would be at higher risk of losing their jobs. In general, professional occupations are much less likely to be affected. Here are some example occupations that saw little employment changes in March. Natural and applied science, business and finance, management positions. The ability to just work from home is also a big factor why these occupations are pretty much unaffected. Now that we gained insight into the detail of the unemployment, it actually makes sense why home prices are expected to remain stable. All the massive job losses are definitely very sad. But objectively speaking, people who suffered the most from the job losses are people who are unlikely to buy and sell real estate. This is also the main reason why we haven't seen any panic selling in the real estate market. Inventory has been dropping dramatically together with sales, keeping prices pretty much frozen. I share my opinion and news on market every single week. If you want to stay on top of the market, make sure you subscribe to my channel and hit the bell now.